Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and sorry I did not upload a podcast episode this week. I was in New Orleans with my girlfriend and her family. Just gonna skip this week. Sorry about that. But for today's video, as you guys can see by the title, I'm gonna be giving you guys my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now, right this instance. Forget about talking about the history, forget about the present, forget about if these guys have experience or not. The top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And you guys are going to get excited by my list. I know you guys are. But if you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe. If you do enjoy the content, make sure to drop a thumbs up. And without further ado, let's get right into it. I got my handy notepad. And at number one, I think this might come to a surprise to some people. But to some, I don't think it will. I think this warrants the number one spot. So number one, the best quarterback in the NFL right now, 23-year-old Brock Purdy, who I am one day older than. Brock Purdy. Why? Let me tell you why. So first of all, the 49ers are 5-0, right? He's thrown 9 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, one of 2 quarterbacks to start all 5 games and not throw a single interception. The other one, of course, being CJ Stroud. And he is number one in the following categories. QBR, which is a huge stat for quarterbacks, and passer rating by a wide margin. I mean, he's number one in QBR by, I think, 10 or 15 points, and in passer rating, I think the same as well. So he's got that. He's completing 72% of his passes, which is second in the NFL. And he has the second most yards per completion at 9.3 yards per completion. So he's doing all of this at 23 years old. Mind you, he hasn't even started a full NFL season. He's played, I think, 14 or 15 games, and he's already 5-0 this season. He hasn't even played a full 17-game season. So, but he's playing great. He's playing at a high level at such a young age, knowing where he wants to go with the football, navigating the pocket extremely well, just beautiful pocket presence, just that that you would see like there I compare him to Tom Brady, but Tom Brady had great pocket presence, knew when to step up, knew when to drop back, and avoiding that pressure. Brock Purdy does really well throwing off his back foot when he has pressure in his face, just dropping back and throwing a beautiful ball. Throws with great anticipation and is doing it, completing a high percent of his passes. Now you can't say Chris. He has Christian McCaffrey, he has Brandon Ayuk, he has Deebo Samuel, he has George Kittle, sure, but he's still playing at a high level. You can't drop Zach Wilson in this offense and have him make some of the throws he's making. I mean, Brock Purdy's playing amazing. That's my number one. Agree or disagree, whatever. This is my list, damn it. All right, so now, moving on to number two, gotta go with Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks over the last 10 years. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but we're talking right now. So he's number two, but playing on 2 injured ankles with no Travis Kelce in the first game and an injured Travis Kelce in the second game. No true wide receiver one. Got receiver dropping passes. They are 4-1, the Chiefs, that is, and the main reason is Patrick Mahomes. He's still a top quarterback in the NFL. He's top 4 in QBR, which, like I said, premier stat for quarterbacks. He's averaging 30 rushing yards a game. But aside from the Jets game, he hasn't regressed. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. He's going to make plays, and even if he doesn't have a wide receiver one, if Travis Kelce is injured, he's still going to find a way to win the game, and the Chiefs are 4-1, excuse me. So, yeah, nothing much else to say. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Now moving on to number 3, Josh Allen. Now, some people will say he struggles with turnovers and yada, yada, yada. The Bills are 3-2. Josh Allen is still a top 3, top 5 quarterback in the NFL, depending on where you want to put him. He's number 1 in completion percentage, number 2 in QBR, and number 5 in passer rating. So he's playing phenomenal. He has 14 total touchdowns on the season and only 6 turnovers. I say only 6, but hear me out. Since week 2, so week 1 he had that bad game against the Jets. So since week 2, He is 99 of 134, which is completing 74% of his passes. He's thrown for 1,171 yards, 10 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. Then you tack on 3 rushing touchdowns and no fumbles. So since week 2, Josh Allen has a 3-1 record, and he has 13 total touchdowns to only 2 turnovers. So he's still playing lights out. He did struggle a little bit in the Jags coming alive at the end of the game, but it was already too late. Still a top quarterback in this league. Josh Allen, number 3, playing phenomenal since week 2. Now at number 4, I think I'm really going to surprise some of you here. At number 4, I have Lamar Jackson. Yes, quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, he's currently top 5 in completion percentage, and the Baltimore Ravens receivers lead the NFL in dropped passes with 15. So Lamar has 8 total touchdowns to only 3 turnovers, 1,000 passing yards, 265 rushing yards, which is the leading rusher on the team. With J.K. Dobbins out, not having a true running back in there, struggling with that. He's averaging 5.6 yards per carry every time he takes off. But with the injuries that have come to the running backs, with like wide receiver issues aside from Zay Flowers, you don't really have a true wide receiver 2. OBJ isn't turning out to how you hoped. He's dealing with injuries. But yeah, especially against this last game against the Steelers, the Ravens had 7 dropped passes. So was not looking good. But Lamar deserves his respect as a quarterback, and he deserves his respect as a passer. Lamar is a top 5 quarterback right now. They're 3-2 and they're first in the AFC North, so that's always good. But here are the receivers and the receiving yards. You have Zay Flowers, 317 yards. Mark Andrews, tight end, rightfully so, 275 yards. Then you have Nelson Agholor at 170 and OBJ at 79 receiving yards. So they need Nelson Agholor to step up and get that separation and be able to make plays. But Lamar Jackson is my number 4. Now at number 5, I know you guys are probably wondering, Chris, you're a Dolphins fan, where are you going to put Tua? I have Tua at number 5. And if you guys know, I'm extra critical on quarterbacks and all this stuff. Tua's playing great, but he's not playing as good as a number 1 quarterback in the NFL should be playing. He's made some really poor decisions. Against this last game against the Giants, he threw one pass into like triple coverage into the red zone, which was just a horrible, horrible pass. He had another one where he just kind of lofted it to Jalen Waddle. His arm got tipped a little, but it was still a horrible pass. Nonetheless, he's still playing the best he's played in his entire career. He's first in passing yards. He's 3rd in QBR. He's 2nd in passer rating. He's 3rd in completion percentage. So, I mean, you got to take all those into account and say, okay, this guy's a top 5 quarterback. And I said at the beginning of the video, I'm talking right now. And Tua right now is playing like a top 5 quarterback. One thing also is he does struggle with his arm strength. And I mean throwing more than 50 yards downfield. He does tend to underthrow. But aside from that, Tua is lining up. He's on pace for 5,700 passing yards this season, which will be the most in a single season in NFL history. So we'll see how that pans out. But Tua Tagovailoa, number 5. Now at number 6, Justin Herbert. He's not getting talked about as much in the media, on First Take, on Get Up, on Undisputed, on all those shows. He's not being talked about as much. With what the Chargers are going through, with, they are 2-2. They started 0-2, lost to the Dolphins and then lost to, forget who, someone can correct me, but he's looking good. He's thrown for 1,100 yards, 7 passing touchdowns, and only 1 interception. Then you add on 3 rushing touchdowns to that. So Justin Herbert has 10 total touchdowns to only 1 turnover. 10-to-1 ratio is perfect. He's completing 71% of his passes. He's one of 4 quarterbacks that is completing 70% or more of their passes. I mean, he's looked good all season, let's be honest here. Well, they lost to the Titans, I believe it was. But yeah, he's looked good. all games that they've won and lost. They're currently 2-2 coming out of the bye week. You know, you have injuries with Austin Eckler. You had injuries with Mike Williams tore his ACL and now is out for the season. You have injuries to the defense, to Joey Bosa, I believe, not Nick. Khalil Mack has been absent. I meant like in the games, not playing well. Then you had J.C. Jackson who got traded, and then you have Derwin James who was injured. I mean, there's a lot going wrong for this team, and Justin Herbert is finding ways to win, and just continuing to play well. So, yeah, Justin Herbert, my number 5. Let's move on. Or my number 6, excuse me. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7, I'm so excited for this one. I've been rooting for this guy for so long. Number 7, Jared effing Goff. My God, the Lions are 4-1, but they should be 5-0. They lost against Seattle in overtime, and Dan Campbell with his stupid decisions going forward on 4th down twice in regulation, screwing them. Then you got a missed field goal. They should have won that game. They should be 5-0 right now. But the Detroit Lions, one of the best teams in football right now. I would want to say they're a top 5. Well, I'm getting goosebumps talking about them, man. They're a top 5 team in the NFL right now. And one of the main reasons is Jared Goff. He's finally getting that confidence back. You know, you see him on the field. He's confident in his decisions, throwing the ball down the field. Amon-Ra St. Brown looking great. Man, this team's looking good. A top 5 offensive line, top 5 offense. Their defense is kind of little skeptic. They have stepped up, and Aiden Hutchinson has the most quarterback pressures as a DN in the NFL. So, you know, Lions are looking good. Jared Goff is looking phenomenal. Let's get into him now. 1,200 passing yards, 9 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. You tack on 2 rushing touchdowns, 11 total touchdowns, and only 3 turnovers. Man, he's completing 69.8% of his passes, which is top 6 in the NFL. He's top 5 in QBR and top 6 in passer rating. I mean, why would you not have Jared Goff at least in your top 10 right now? He's lighting it up. The Detroit Lions are 4-1. Very well could be 5-0. All of this because of Jared Goff. He looks great out there. He looks like he's having fun again. So yeah, Jared Goff, number 7. Couldn't be more excited to put him on this list. Let's move on to number 8. Number 8 is Jalen Hurts. So he has kind of regressed. I'm going to use that very lightly. Has kind of regressed a little bit in terms of his passing down the field this season. But nonetheless, he's still a top 10 quarterback. This guy's still Jalen Hurts. He's made some poor decisions, really throwing the ball, especially against the Bucs. He had a couple of passes that were intercepted, and I'm kind of like, whoa, like this is not the Jalen Hurts that we know, you know. So, but he's still playing good football. He's passing for 1,200 yards, which is the same as Jared Goff. 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's rushing for 206 yards and 4 touchdowns. So all in all, he has 1,400 total yards through 5 games, which is about 280 yards a game. He has 10 total touchdowns and only 4 turnovers. He has the Eagles at 5-0, one of 2 undefeated teams left in the NFL. They play the Dolphins in 2 weeks, so that's going to be a matchup. But he's the reason that their run game is so efficient because, I mean, you've seen the Eagles go for 200 rushing yards in, I think, 2 or 3 games this season. I know 2 for sure. And he is a main reason why, because he's a running quarterback. He can run the ball extremely well. But when you have that, and then you have DeAndre Swift and that offensive line, as a DN and as a defensive coordinator, you're forced to have to respect Jalen Hurts on those zone reads, on those handoffs. You know, you have to stay put until you know the running back has the ball. So you're losing kind of an extra guy out there, but he's the reason this run game is so good. Of course, the offensive line as well, but he definitely has a positive influence in that as well. So yeah, Jalen Hurts is my number 8. Now moving on to number 9. Number 9, I'm tired of this guy getting disrespected. Number 9 is Kirk Cousins. You like that? You like that? Kirk Cousins is a top 10 quarterback in this league. You give him a top 10 defense, even a top 15 defense, and man, Kirk Cousins would be. I just want to see him succeed, and you know, his defense is just awful. But the Vikings are 4-1, but it's not Kirk Cousins' fault. He kind of a couple times he's had trouble getting through his reads and finding that open man. But he leads the league in passing touchdowns with 13 passing touchdowns. He's thrown for pretty much 1,500 yards, 1,498 yards, which is second in the NFL behind Tua Tagovailoa. He's thrown 13 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, and all of those losses, all the 4 losses, are 1 possession games. So the passing offense, the Vikings passing offense, is number 2 in the NFL behind the Miami Dolphins, but their rushing offense is 28th in the NFL. So that's really what's screwed them. Dalvin Cook being gone, and now you have Alexander Mattison. Not running the ball particularly well. Now, the Vikings offensive line has had their fair share of struggles, but they are a top 10 offensive line, believe it or not. I fact-checked myself before this video, and I was really surprised because I think Kirk doesn't have enough time to throw the football, but they're top 10, offensive line. So just give Kirk a good defense, you know. And now with Justin Jefferson out, and I believe his name is KJ Osborne, and you know, you have TJ Hawkinson. You know, you need those guys to step up. So, but yeah, Kirk Cousins is number 9. Man, if the Vikings were 4-1, I wish I would probably put him higher, but they're not. Kirk Cousins, of course, everyone can play better. And so yeah, Kirk Cousins is my number 9. My number 10, rookie CJ Stroud. Yes, a rookie is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now. The Texans are 2-3, but CJ Stroud has been playing phenomenal. He's looking like he's a 5 or 6 year vet out there. You know, he looks so comfortable in that pocket. He's making some passes with great anticipation, meaning you're throwing the ball before the receiver is there. I know that's leading the receiver, but you're throwing the ball before the receiver is even turned around. You're throwing the ball at a spot where it's covered, but where you're going to throw it, it's not going to be covered. And, you know, tough term to kind of describe, but throwing the ball with great anticipation. His completion percentage isn't all the way there, but he's still very accurate with the football when he needs to be. He gets rid of the ball when he needs to. One of 2 quarterbacks without an interception, and he's a rookie. He's broken all these records, and my God, he's just playing amazing. He's top 3 in passing yards, thrown for 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And the Texans offense, believe it or not, currently ranks 11th in the NFL. So CJ Stroud makes great decisions with the football. Now that we've wrapped up CJ Stroud, those are my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. We're not talking about overall, like, you know, you would put Joe Burrow up there. You know, you'd put a couple guys, maybe a Trevor Lawrence, maybe a Baker or a Dak. But we're talking right now. Those are my top 10 quarterbacks. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Man, let's have a discussion, a friendly discussion. Let me know why you think this guy should have been higher, should have been lower, who you would have put in your top 10. Give me your list in the comments below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And as always, I will see you all next video.